party people. Welcome once again to the Party of One podcast, where the gaming table is always set for two. I am your host, as always, Jeff Stormer. This week I am joined by Phil Vecchione for a game of Dungeon World, The Legacy Weapon. Phil is one of the hosts of the Misdirected Mark podcast and the Pandas Talking Games podcast, which are both excellent tabletop discussion podcasts. He is also a game designer and owner of Encoded Designs. You can find more about all of his work, including his Dungeon World one-on-one supplement, The Legacy Weapon, which we're playing this week, in the show notes. But what is the Legacy Weapon? Well, it is a two-player Dungeon World supplement that puts in the player's hands, well, a legacy weapon. A magical item that is passed over generations from wielder to wielder to wielder. And every time it does so, it imparts a little bit of that wielder's essence into the weapon itself. But it does so at a cost, requiring a great sacrifice in order to access those powers. In game terms, what this means is it gives your character moves from other playbooks from the previous wielders of the weapon. But it does so in a way that's just dripping with flavor and plot hooks and momentum, and it's just super cool, and I cannot wait for you to hear how it works. Two quick things before we get into it, though. One, a content warning, there is a brief reference to self-harm in this episode. Listener discretion is advised. Two, I wanted to remind our listeners in the Philadelphia area to check out the Party of One live show on July 15th at Amalgam Comics and Coffee House at high noon. It is gonna rule. It's great. You're not gonna want to miss it. You can find more information about that in the show notes. And with all that out of the way, let's throw it over to me in the past so he can get started with the show. Take it past me. Thanks, future me. This week I am sitting down with Phil Vecchione. Phil, thanks for coming on Party of One.
Hey, this is awesome. Thanks so much for having me.
So, at the top of the show, as we like to do, why don't you take a moment and talk about any cool projects you're working on, any cool podcasts you're appearing on that you might want the audience at home to know about?
Sure. That I'll try to keep it brief.
You got all the time in the world.
It sounds good. I'm the co-host of two podcasts on the Misdirected Mark Network. The first one being the Misdirected Mark podcast, where I co-host with my co-host Chris Sneezak and Old Man Logan. And that is every Tuesday. We actually do that show live on Twitch and then put it out as a podcast. So you can either catch it live or at 8:45 Eastern, or you can just pick it up where you normally get podcasts. And I am co-host of Pandas Talking Games with my other co-host, Senda, who I believe has already been on this show.
Yes.
And I'm also a game designer. I am the owner of Encoded Designs, hippie commune where a bunch of my game designer friends and I make cool stuff, including the Legacy Weapon. And currently I'm working on a game that I'm hoping to put out to Kickstarter early next year called Hydro Hacker Operatives, which is a sci-fi game where you play Robin Hood-like characters stealing water from the corporate authorities to keep your neighborhood alive.
That sounds rad as hell. Yes. Yes. Anyway, you mentioned something called the Legacy Weapon, so why don't you introduce us to this concept, because I think that we're playing it this week.
We are. So the Legacy Weapon is my solution for playing Dungeon World one-on-one. And it was designed to basically give a single Dungeon World character access to a few extra moves that would be helpful, like that you would normally have if you were playing like a party in Dungeon World. And so what the Legacy Weapon is, it's actually a playbook, and you create this weapon that has existed before your character finds it, and will exist after your character perishes. It's when you first pick it up, you find out that it has had previous wielders, and the previous wielders have imprinted upon it various moves from their playbooks.
Cool. It's such a cool concept, and I love it.
Thanks.
I so love the Legacy Weapon.
And so when you go to the Black Gates, the weapon attempts to copy one of your moves as you depart. So you can actually play this one of two ways. You can play this based on one character wielding the weapon. Or the other way you can play it is you can actually play the story of the weapon as it passes through the hands of different heroes and villains. And you can tell their stories until they perish, and then just make up another character, another situation, another time, and have somebody else find the weapon.
It's such a neat concept for one-shot games and campaigns alike. I've played Dungeon World with one-on-one a lot of ways, and this is definitely one of my favorite approaches to it. I'm really excited to get to play it. I'm super pumped. So, why don't you introduce us to your character this week, and then I will introduce us to the legacy weapon.
All right, awesome. Well, I'm Shank, and I'm a thief, and I don't like messing around too much. I like to just get my work done, get my gold. From time to time, I like to work with people, but I find people to be unreliable. I like to just rely on my own wits and abilities. And ever since I encountered Shadowblade, now that I'm in possession of it, I don't really need a crew as much as I used to.
The Shadowblade. Sculpted of ancient, gleaming black void metal by the hands of Randiok, goddess of the endless abyss, that which is below even the underdark. It floated there, suspended in nothing for eons, until first discovered by Thaloza, the ever-wandering bard. Though forged in shadow, it served as a light in the darkness, carrying her back to the surface, where together they made beautiful music across every continent and sea. When Thaloza finally died, the blade carried on her legacy, and wandered. In merchant caravans, in goblin knapsacks, in the rusted weapon racks of traveling brigands, it saw the world. Eventually, it ended up in one of the many hands, the Spider Druid. Many Hands used the Shadowblade's power to sing the songs of the spider, take their form, and defend the Spider Queen's nest for generations. All heroes passed, though, and in time, so too did Many Hands. And so did the blade pass, this time into the grasp of Doros, the worshipper of endless shadow. This was a union most fated, a destiny most divine. Doros alone grasped the true power of the Shadowblade, unlocking the divine magic buried deep in its design. Much of that magic would never be seen again, but a spark of it lingered, gracing those that would carry the knife after Doros. But alas, there comes a time when even destiny ends. Doros died, and the Blade's divine union ended. In time, it would become just another knife in the prodigious collection of Throwmaster Isaac's sunset. And though it claimed many a blood sacrifice in those days, flying through the air, claiming even the most exotic of prey, it was merely a weapon, and not a legacy weapon. Until Shanks.
Tell me again how it ended up in Shanks' hands.
Right. So I was drinking one night at my favorite pub, and I overheard these kind of grimy-looking peasants talking about this dagger. Now, I had known of the dagger, of legend of it, but no one had seen it. Stories had been told about it, etc. And so I bought them a few drinks and got them a bit liquored up, and they confessed that they were part of a cult that had a temple underneath the city. So I gave them a few more drinks, bid them a good night, and waited for them to stumble out of the pub, and then I followed them. And I followed them all the way to their underground temple. And I wasn't rash. I waited, and I cased out the temple, and then one night when they went back out drinking, I snuck in and stole the blade. I had every intention to sell it. I had no real intention of keeping it. I figured it would fetch me a small fortune. But once I picked it up, I became aware that there was more to this dagger than just a mere trinket. And I decided to keep it for myself.
So, you held the dagger for a while, and before you learned of its particular hunger, a particular proclivity for violence, a proclivity to be fed in blood. When did you discover that?
So, once I knew that it was special, it began to call to me to draw blood with it. And I didn't want to just run out and, stab somebody, innocent or etc. So I decided to set up another job. And during the execution of that job, I took out a guard and gave it its first taste of blood in some time.
So, this job that you pulled, this first job you pulled with the Shadowblade by your side, you stole a handful of Baron Helmet Blazestone's prized rubies.
Yeah, they were quite nice.
Oh, they're beautiful rubies. They're wonderful. They fetched you quite a pretty penny. This was a while ago, long enough ago that you don't quite remember the specific details of it. You're certain that he yelled some manner of "I'll have my revenge," a fact which, now that you are staring down several of his paper guards, you're beginning to wonder. You're beginning to think he had more. He was more serious in those words than you thought at the time.
Yes. This is unfortunate. Well, can't waste too much time with these guards. I have to be out and about. I don't like being pinned down like this. So it doesn't look like I'm going to be able to maneuver my way out of this. Am I correct?
No. They have surrounded you like glaives drawn. Their bodies crackling and crinkling with that distinct sound of like folding paper mache. Interesting.
All right. Well, I'm going to need a little blood if I'm going to do anything tonight. So I'll waste no time. I think I'm going to just take a run at one of them and get a cut so that I can feed Shadowblade.
All right. As you run at them, roll me a hack and slash move.
Okay. So I'll be using the dagger, which is precise. And that is a 11.
Beautiful. Roll your damage. You may choose to roll an additional d6 of damage to deal some additional damage. You cut into the paper guard with the Shadowblade, and though they are the sort of paper mache construct man, it bleeds blood.
Excellent. I get a 4.
Okay. Do you want to roll some extra damage, or are you going to? Or are you good?
No, I think I'm good. I'll avoid taking any this early.
Okay. Okay. You actually, I want to say you fell this first one. Yeah, you fell this first one. You stab it, and it bleeds blood. Basically, it starts to bleed, and as it bleeds, the paper mache dries up, and it just leaves it this brittle, sort of easily shattered statue. Falls to the ground and cracks and crumbles.
Interesting.
The Shadowblade glows with this rich obsidian. It looks like the finest of marble, and you can hear it singing all minor notes and cruel laughter as it hums with power. You now have unlocked one of your other moves.
Yes, I've got a hold which I can use.
Yes.
And I think I will. I think I'll spend that hold so that I can try to access its abilities. So I'll use the bargain for power move.
Okay.
All right. So it respects wisdom. Roll plus wisdom. And that is an 8. So on a 7 to 9, your sacrifice appeases the weapon for the immediate future. For the rest of the scene, you may use any of the legacy moves. You may make another sacrifice later. Okay. Good. All right. So now that I have it, where exactly are we? Like in an alley? Are we are we inside a pub?
We are behind a pub.
Okay.
You'd have been enjoying an evening at the pub. You'd stepped out for like a smoke break or to take a breath, and there were 3 paper mache golem man monstrosities staring you down with glaives.
Right. Okay, well, I don't really want to stick around, and fighting them toe-to-toe doesn't seem like the wisest of moves. So I'm going to use Many Hands move to become the spider so that I can climb up the wall and get out of this fray.
Okay. Your body starts to shift, and like you feel your bones crack, and you almost scream out in agony as from your chest, like your ribs kind of dislocate, and 2 of them jut out and sort of start segmenting. Oh. And soon enough, you've doubled the number of arms and legs you have, and you are now a spider, about the size of a large dog, maybe a mastiff.
Yeah, so let me roll for my shapeshifter hold.
Yes.
Roll plus wisdom. That is also an 8. So I have a hold 2.
Okay.
And for the shapeshifting ability, I think I'd like the that ability to be the spider climb, so to climb up the walls.
That makes sense, yeah.
And so as part of the move, when you use the first time you use a move for a given character, you tell a little story. So this time is not unlike time for Many Hands. Many Hands was caught in a town. They avoided towns for the most part, but they had walked into the town because they needed some supplies, and a group of zealots led by a paladin chased Many Hands down, and they were going to extinguish them in the name of their god. And so Many Hands called upon the powers of the spiders, shifted, and was able to climb up a wall and then across some rooftops and escape the town unharmed. And so, inspired by that memory of Many Hands, I am going to do the same thing, and I leap to the wall and start trying to ascend the wall to get away from these paper mache golems.
That's fantastic. I love that. Yeah. So you effortlessly climb the wall. You make quick time. It takes 0 effort. The movements of a spider just click to you in a way that feels almost almost inconceivable. You make it to the top of the wall. You make it to the roof of the pub, where I think you have maybe a zip line to your usual hideout. This isn't the first time you've been cornered behind this pub.
Yes, that sounds good. I like that.
But on the roof of the pub is a squat dwarf with rubies braided into his beard. Ruby rings. He's sitting and he's smoking a pipe. And he sees you climb to the top. He sees this spider, and the pipe falls from his mouth, and he just barely catches it as he starts guffawing. Just oh, wonderful, wonderful. I did not expect that.
I'll with my spider-like cluster of eyes, will kind of gaze upon him. Not quite ready to shed this form. I may need one more escape. Mm-hmm. So, but I'll make sure that I maneuver myself so that I can make a leap to another building should this go badly quickly.
Helmet actually he sees you start to ready yourself, and he puts out a hand. He says, "No, trust me. This was not a revenge. This was an opportunity to make things right. I'm not a monster. Come on now." And as he says that, he looks over the ledge at the paper guards and takes a puff of his pipe.
All right, I'm gonna drop this form. He doesn't seem to be brandishing any weapons, and I think in a rush can probably take him. So I'm I'll drop this form and shift back into Shanks' human form.
He smiles as he says, "Oh, thank you. I appreciate that we can have this business interaction as ourselves. No illusions between us.
I'm always interested in business.
I have a proposition for you, Shank. Mm-hmm. You're very good at stealing things. Obviously, you stole from me, and not many people do that, and live to tell about it. Anyway, there is something that I want, something that I don't have, that I would like to have. I would like you to get it for me."
And what exactly is it?
I'm not sure, if I'm being honest. I just know that I don't have it. It is... Do you know of, the Ageless Vault?
I've heard of it.
Good.
Where antiquities are kept throughout time.
Yes. There is a chamber in the Ageless Vault that sources of mine have recently made me aware of, and I would quite like to know what is inside there. Apparently no one's ever been. Apparently even those that have gotten into the Ageless Vault have never made it into this chamber. I'd rather like to know what's being guarded there. And honestly, I'd rather like to own it.
And anything else I run into in the vault?
No, not my concern.
I assume that if I can do this, then there'll be no more of those papier-mâché men.
Oh yeah, no, if you do this, you bring me what is in that vault, and why, not only are we even, then you will be one of my inner circle of people that I trust for these sorts of jobs, which, I mean, I don't want to brag or anything, but it tends to be a very profitable franchise.
Oh no, I've had friends and acquaintances work for you. I know the deal. It's a good job. And of course, stealing from you for the first time was, of course, nothing but business.
Oh, of course not. That's why you're still alive. Seriously, though.
Plus the reputation of having broken into the Ageless Vault. That sounds pretty good. Yes, I'll take a try.
Wonderful. Well, provided you survive, I look forward to hearing from you upon your return. And, he turns, and he hops down the roof of the pub, and when you look over to see, he's just not there anymore.
Impressive. All right. Ageless Vault. I'll have to find it first. And then get it.
Make me a... No, don't make me any moves yet. Let me ask you, where do you find it?
Well, that's the thing about the Ageless Vault. It doesn't actually exist in this plane. So you've got to consult the stars. The stars will tell you where in the city it'll appear. So need a little time to study the stars and line it up.
That's fantastic. So yeah, you study the stars, you consult some old manuscripts about the Ageless Vault, the types of things that a lot of people have written off as bunk, but you know better. Roll me a spout lore for what you find.
Okay. Let's see. Spout lore is int. I have been flat on int. That is an 8. So,
okay.
Yeah.
What is an... I mean, I should also pull up the basic moves, in fact.
The GM will only tell you something interesting. It's on you to make it useful.
The Ageless Vault, as you've said, the Ageless Vault, it appears where it appears, and it goes when it goes. But it's not ageless on the inside. What makes it ageless is that when you exit the vault, might not be the same time you left.
Interesting indeed. That'll be a risk. Hopefully I can get out in time to still be back here to claim my reward.
Hopefully.
All right, I'm gonna shoot down the. I grab all my gear, so
Right.
they're like the quick montage of I'm checking my thieves' tools. I got my adventuring gear. Check the Shadowblade, and put up my hood, and we'll head out into the city to find where the vault should be tonight.
You follow the stars, you follow the diagrams and the manuscripts, and sure enough, underneath the city, in this deep, where at the edge of where the sewer system empties out into the woods beyond town, there is on the ground a circular hatch with a wheel thing that I forget the name of.
Yes.
Yeah, there's a hatch on the ground. Unlike the sewer piping, which is rusted iron, this is aged brass, so it has that green color.
Mm-hmm.
It is unlike anything else you've seen in the city.
I'm going to take a moment to study it. I don't want to just. I'm a professional. I don't just reach up and grab a door I've never seen and get myself killed. So I will take a few minutes to study it, the handle mechanism, etc., to make sure that there are no traps.
Sounds good.
All right. So roll plus dex. Oh, that's a whole lot. That is a 13.
All right. I believe you hold 3 in that case.
I do. So let me ask you, is there a trap here? And if so, what activates it?
There is not a trap, but what you know from the manuscripts say that as time is different in the vault, so too is space. So, the trap there is a trap of sorts in that opening this hatch is going to open into a room, but in an angle where if you are not prepared, if your mind is not in a position where you can change your vertical positioning, you will fall to your death.
Ah, yes. Okay. So knowing that, I will use a spot of my adventuring gear for rope, and I will quickly but skillfully tie off a quick harness of rope, and I will attach it to the outside of the brass door. This way, when I open it, should I have any problems entering the room, at least the rope will stop me, and I can orient from there.
That sounds sounds perfect.
So then, if it's with that, I'll give it a turn and make sure my rope is on tight and open it, and I will bring myself slowly into the hatch until I can kind of figure out the correct orientation for the room.
You pull open the hatch, and you look, and you come out, you're on a staircase, like a spiral staircase, but it seems to be spiraling outward, not up or down. You actually are looking at looking for a wall as to where this hatch might exit out into, and you're not really sure where the wall is. You just kind of have to walk out, you kind of have to walk out and then fall backwards a little bit. And when you do that, suddenly you're righted.
Okay, and then once righted, I'll cut the rope because I think I want to leave most of the rope with me, and I'll just leave a bit hanging by the door, which actually will be helpful if I have to come out. If I'm coming back out this way, I'll at least see the rope and know that that's where the door is.
Yeah, that makes sense. So This winding staircase. Roll me a discern realities.
All right. That's plus wisdom. I'm a +1 on wisdom. That is a 7.
Okay, ask me one question.
All right. What should I be on the lookout for?
You look down. You're looking at the stairs, trying to orient yourself. And you notice claw marks. Sets of 4 of them. Big, curved. Not like any animal you've seen, though.
That's no good.
Definitely patrolling.
And this is a staircase. Not much place to hide. Well, we'll have to work to get off this staircase and get to some place with better cover.
Probably. You're studying the stairs. You see there are at seemingly random intervals there are platforms that go off into doors. Not all of them are attached to the spiral staircase, though. Some of them there appear to be gaps. And what you know of this place suggests that gap might be longer or shorter than it looks.
Yeah, that's no good. All right. Plus, I still have to find this chamber that has never been seen. Do I know anything else about the chamber? Does it have any particular markings? Does it have a particular style door?
Roll me a spout lore.
Alrighty. 9.
You know that it bears the name the Attendant's Chamber. The Chamber of the Attendant.
Right. Okay. I'll be on the lookout for that as I maneuver along the staircase.
So you move down the staircase. You come to a platform that is just a long, straight hallway. You look down these doors and you see all of the doors look different. Some of them are these big, round vault doors, right? Some of them are like bank vaults. Some of them are almost jail cells. Like the big sliding square, like Arkham Asylum jail cells.
Awesome.
Others appear to be just open passages, which that can't be right? These are supposed to be vaults. But
unless they have other methods of protection.
They might. But there's this long series of doorways. The stairs also continue to descend deeper.
I think I'm going to stop and check. I can't just plunge deep. I can't plunge all the way down into this vault without at least checking some of these side passages for the door for the chamber of the attendant.
Okay. Describe to me the door you come to.
So I come to one of the round vault doors, and it's made of a metal, the likes I've never seen. The closest it would be like a Damascus steel, so tiger striped, but it's gold and like blood red. I don't even know what the blood red metal is through it.
Yeah, that's cool.
But, it immediately catches my eye, right? Because the metal's so rare that the door alone would be an interesting haul if I could grab it, which I can't. But yeah, so I'm studying this, like, I just am affixed upon this door.
As you look at it, the door starts to, the blood red stripes start to swirl and start to shift. And suddenly,
Sorceries.
all of it is an orb in front of... is like a flat circle. And then it starts to take on a human shape. It starts to form a face. It starts to form your face. And it
Rather
looks
handsome.
at you, and with your own voice, it says, What is your purpose here?
I'm looking for the attendant.
Oh, you don't want to do that. I think that you want to come with me. I think this is a much better quest for you to be on, and suddenly a blood red hand extends out from the door.
Yeah, I'm not going to let that grab me. I'll take a couple steps back and put the dagger between me and it. No, I'm here for a purpose.
You watch yourself scowl and get very angry, and suddenly that hand starts to, like, twist and shape, and it fires out at you with lightning speed, and it, like, tries to grab you by the throat. Give me a defy danger.
Yeah. Dex, I assume.
However you want to die. However you want to...
Oh, Dex it is. Dex it is. Yeah. I'm going to be quick about getting out of the way of this thing. 8-10.
Fabulous. It goes all the way across the hallway, and it goes into one of these open passages, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you watch it. And in an instant, it seems to extend for miles. And suddenly that open doorway seems to make a little bit more sense, in that there is some sort of sorcery there. But eventually, the blood, that, like, viscous blood red metal, gets so thin that it just snaps off. And you see the hand still traveling, seemingly endlessly. And the rest of it recedes.
I'll use that opportunity to run.
Okay.
Is the hallway far enough that I could go down and, adequately get away from this? Or is it more of a dead end and I should probably... double back to the staircase?
You run for a while, and you find yourself at another one of these spiral staircases. This one seems to be going... you run, and you're at another horizontal spiral staircase, but you know well enough to, like, fall forward, and suddenly, like, you feel like you're back at the angle you were at when you came through the hatch.
Interesting.
But it's another spiral staircase, going in both directions. You see pathways up and down.
Well, you see, this is going to be a lot of hit and miss until somebody can help me find the attendant. So, okay, on we go. Yes, we'll head deeper into the vault.
Okay. You go down to another one of these platforms. It's very similar. This one, the floor is not stone or metal, but, like, a polished hard wood. You walk on it, and it's almost a little bit slippery, like it's been slightly over-polished. And you walk on it, and you're hearing your feet clack, 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 clack.
Interesting.
Clack, clack. There's two sets of footsteps.
Is it cracking Is it cracking at all, or?
No, but there's definitely a second set of footsteps you hear walking around.
I was going to say, I wear soft boots. I don't know why I would be clacking, so yes, that's no good.
Then
is there any
sets of footsteps?
Is there any kind of doorway arch or anything that I could hide in to see if I can spot what is walking past?
There is an arch, but it will take a little bit of maneuvering to get up there. Or maybe a lot of maneuvering. It's been a kind of day where you're not 100% sure.
Yes, it's either really close or really far. All right, well, I need some sort of cover. So yes, I'll get to the arch and either duck into it or use, like, the top of the arch to kind of climb up and hide.
Okay. You can spend 1 point of your adventuring gear, or you can make me a defy danger to try to get up there.
I think I've still got some gear left. I'll spend a gear, and I'll have some climbing gear that I'm able to use.
Okay. You gear up, you load up your climbing gear, and you make your way up there, and you climb for what feels like hours, but then you get up there, and once you're up there, it feels like it's been 20 seconds. You're watching, and 2 people are just walking down the hallway. One of them is very long-limbed normal-sized torso, normal-sized head, just very long arms kind of dragging along the floor, and, like, it kind of exaggeratedly walking with his legs.
Interesting.
And the other...
And the other?
The other is just a halfling. Just an ordinary halfling walking with this strange, oddly shaped man. And they're just talking about the status of their vault. Saying, honestly, I can't believe no one's broken into it yet. It looks, it was really just I expected better of the vault of the Ageless than this, rotting wooded door they gave us. And the long-limbed man says, "Yes, well, you can't always win with the ancient ones."
After they pass, I'm gonna follow them for a bit. So okay. I'll give them a little distance, and then I'll trail after them. At least I know where they're gonna end up with a rotted wooden door.
Yeah. You follow them for a while, and that's exactly what happens. They get to nearly the end of this hallway, and this hallway feels much longer than the last one. But they come to this rotted wooden door, and they pull out one of these big medieval kind of keys, and he sort of unlocks it, walks inside.
Is there time to dash in before they, is it so big that, like, if I tried to sneak in behind them, they would notice, or, is there, like, a gap where I can slide in as well?
I'll call that a defy danger, but I think it's possible.
Okay. So then, yeah, I'm going to try to slip in behind them. I still need something, and I may need to talk to them, but let's start with, let's see if I can slide in. Oh, yeah, that probably is going to be pretty good. That's another 13.
Yeah, fabulous. You slide in effortlessly. And inside is a gigantic pearl, or a gigantic clam, with a pearl about the size of a medicine ball sitting in the middle.
No. Stick to the job. Professionals stick to the job. I'll make good note of that. What are the two gentlemen doing? The halfling and the long-limbed one?
The long-limbed one turns to the halfling and says, "As always, it has been a pleasure adventuring with you, but I tire." And he wraps his long limbs around the pearl, and the clam closes. And when it opens, he is gone. But the pearl is murkier with these black stripes running all around it.
Oh. Stick to the plan. Stick to the professional. Stick to the plan. I'll make my presence known now that it's just the halfling and I. Excuse me.
He pulls a dagger and says, "Who are you and how did you get in? The door's not very good. I don't ask the second half of that question. Merely answer the first. Who are you?"
My name is Shank. No worries, I'm not here for your pearl. I am looking for something, though. I am looking for the chamber of the attendant.
Sorry, that was rude.
No, I get it.
No, that's still, reaction hasn't changed. That's, my goodness,
well, now.
That's certainly a request.
Yes, well, I mean, it is. And, I assume that you don't have much company other than your long-limbed friend.
No, it is just me these days.
Must be lonely.
A little.
Must not get much in the way of spirits or song.
Not really. It's quiet around here. It echoes. I don't know if you've noticed. It echoes a lot.
Well, If you were not opposed to providing me some information about the Chamber of the Attendant, go ahead and laugh if you must. I have a flask of spirits I could leave behind, and I would be more than happy to play a melody for you, something to entertain you as payment. Clearly, you don't need money with an object this valuable in a place inside such a legendary vault. So, perhaps some company and a little bit of song might go some way.
He extends his hand for the flask.
Yep, I'll use an adventuring gear for flask.
And he takes it and he walks back and he sits on the clam. And he just listens. Takes a sip. And you play the melody of the Shadowblade for him.
Mm-hmm. Yep, I will. One of the many songs that I have that Thalosa has taught me through our commune with the weapons. So I will play a particularly not one that's too depressing, just haunting enough.
Mm-hmm. He takes a swig of his flask and he says, "Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you for that. I suppose I could give you some directions. I mean, we all know where the chamber is. And he leans forward, very excited to tell you this part. No one has been inside of it, but it's not because no one's been able to find it. It's because no one has wanted to cross. Well, you'll see." And he draws out a map that leads you right to the entrance of the Chamber of the Attendant.
Most appreciative. And, yes, I know it sounds foolhardy, but glory is often regarded as foolhardy from a distance. But I thank you. This map will be most valuable.
Oh, don't thank me yet. You still have to get to the Chamber of the Attendant. And he gestures out, and you're in the hallway again. You didn't move, but you're in the hallway again.
All right, let's take a look at this map, and let's get on our way.
Yeah, the map, you follow its directions. They don't always make sense when you're looking at the map. Sometimes it says, like, go sideways 4 paces and wait 5 minutes.
Yes, of course, because everything moves around here.
But you do it, and you follow the written directions, the instructions that he's given you. And you find yourself at the chamber. You find yourself in front of a black painted door, like an office door. Glass window. And on it just says attendant.
All right, work time. Well, we've been on the job the whole time, but let's, I gotta start checking this door. Nothing this fearsome can be, so easily opened. All right, I will, I don't know. Let's see. That is a 5, 6, 7. Okay, and just pull myself out of that one.
All right.
So hold one. Is this thing trapped? And if so, what activates it?
It is not trapped. The door is locked, but not trapped in any way.
Okay, well, that I can do, and I'll open up my roll of tools and get to work on the lock.
All right.
Much better. That will be a 13.
All right, you do it no problem. The door opens with a creak. The handle is warm in your hand as it swings as you swing it open. And then you see what the halfling was talking about. This is a walkway, about 5 feet. And you see a slumbering thing underneath.
Underneath the walkway. Uh-huh.
Like, it's over a large pit. 4 big tentacles, each one looks like the like hand of the tentacle is the size of you. It's sleeping for now. Looks like it's about 100 yards in length.
All right. I don't like doing this, but I think that perhaps the spider would be a better to cross. Outside the door, I will take the Shadowblade and I will cut my arm next to one of several previous cuts that I've made in the past, to feed it.
Okay.
Roll for damage, right?
Roll for damage.
Oh wait. Oh, good. That's a 1. Okay. I thought it was a 7. Okay. All right. I have hold 1, and I will use it immediately to transform into the spider.
All right.
And that is... Druid. Druid is... Shapeshifter is... Wisdom. Ooh. I get a 13. I just want to tell you that I have played a lot of Dungeon World. I don't normally roll this exceptional on any night. But hold 3. So, yeah, I would like to use one of the holds to very carefully on my 8 legs move across this walkway.
Okay. You make it across without a problem. The thing underneath is slumbering. You come to a smaller door. Equal in proportion to the one that you saw earlier. Mm-hmm. Same text on it, same styling, half the size.
Locked?
No, this one is fine.
Okay. Little spider legs, like, will open the door, and I'm like the size of a dog anyway as the spider, so I will move on through.
You walk through, and it is just a big stone room. Perfectly polished on all sides. You see a smaller door still on the other side, directly in front of you. And there is a... remember those claw marks from earlier?
Yes.
Yeah, that thing is sleeping right in front of you as well. It opens one eye. It's a little bit like a displacer beast, but without the displacers. It's a little bit like a chaos beast, but with a little more shape. It's big. It's got big claws. It's got like a xenomorph-sized row of teeth.
Yeah. It looks lovely.
Yes. And it's got a few... it's got wings. It's got, like, dragon-like wings.
It's fairly nightmarish in its structure.
Yes.
Okay, so is it between me and the next door?
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And it's sleeping, or did it just wake when its eye
just
opened?
Waking up and starting to, like...
Yes. Well, I still have this form. I think I want to try to outmaneuver it.
Okay.
I'm going to wait till it starts stirring because I need it to kind of start moving away from the door so that I can, I'm going to, I assume it'll come when it comes after me. I'm going to try to go like up the side wall and like around to get to the door.
All right. Yeah. I think that's what happens. And it gets up and kind of like moves after you a little bit.
Okay. So I'll spend a hold to spider climb across the walls. And, yes, that's what I intend to do, is to kind of run along the walls and stay out of its way.
Okay. I think that's exactly what happened. Actually, make me a defy. I'm going to ask for a defy danger, or to spend your last hold.
I'll spend my last hold to get to the door.
Okay. Yeah, it chases you around. You're at a lot of spots where it like flies up, but you notice that it can't really. It's flapping, but it's in a way that like it doesn't have a lot of like momentum, so you're able to like keep out of its grasp. You get to the door. This one is also not locked. You come through it, and you are in what looks like like it's open. Mm-hmm. Glass walls, thick, sort of milky glass walls. Big dome.
Okay. Nice.
Cushioning on the ground. And in front of you, sitting on some cushioning, is a man with very long legs, very long arms, and he cocks his head. He says, "Have I seen you somewhere before?"
Did you not travel with the halfling a little bit ago?
"Oh, were you there for... Yes, I was just there." And you look, and just past the glass walls, you see milky and distorted, the shape of a halfling.
I'm inside the pearl.
Yes.
Last time I saw you, you were wrapped around the pearl.
Oh, yes, that is how one enters.
Not through the doors?
No, well, that's how I enter the pearl. The others must take the long way.
Are you the attendant?
And he flourishes his hand, which is about 6 feet long, so it waves and waves, and he says, "At your service, at his service."
Interesting. What else is in this room?
You can make me a defy danger. Or not defy danger, discern realities.
Yeah, let's take a look. 7. One question. Let's see. Oh, that's it. What here is useful or valuable to me?
Smaller pearls. Just around. Yes. You pick one up, and it is swirling with similar stripes to the attendant.
Oh my.
And the attendant smiles with a few too many teeth and says, "Vaults within vaults within vaults."
I see. Attendants within attendants?
Some of them merely treasures, some of them nothing. Hard to tell, really.
Well, I have been on a most interesting quest to find out what's inside this chamber, and now I've found it.
Indeed you have.
Get out to the outside world very much?
No. I spend my days in the clam, in the pearl, in my chamber.
Well, the way things work on the outside, no one's going to quite believe that I've made it here without some sort of proof. Any of these pearls able to just come with me?
He looks around. I'm going to say make me a parlay.
Yeah, that sounds good. Let's see. Good, because this is my worst stat. Okay, charisma. Right, because Shank has no personality. Yep, that was a 7, it's now a 6.
Great. He gestures to you and says, "Oh, any of them can be taken. These are my things, and I'm always happy to help out a friend, but I'm not quite sure how you think you're going to leave." And you look back, and that doorway is gone.
Okay. Attendant. I assume you can get into the pearl. You must be able to get out of it.
I can come and go as I please.
I mean, maybe you want to send me on my way?
No, I don't suppose that's not quite how we deal with interlopers in the vault.
Hmm.
And suddenly you get another look at one of these pearls, and a pit forms in your stomach.
Yes, well, I don't think much that I'd like to become one of your baubles in this room. So, either you're going to let me out, or I'm going to find a way out.
He stands up.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Like that, I see. Clearly we're not going to get anywhere by talking anymore. Right?
Nope. No talking.
Okay. Well. Very well. And, I will lunge at him.
Okay.
With, little to no grace. Just bum rush him in an attempt to just stab him. That is 6, 7, 8.
Okay. Roll your damage and take 1d10 damage.
Okay. So I deal 7, and I will take 6. Oof. -1 for armor. Okay.
Okay.
It doesn't have to be like this. One trinket. Send me on my way.
Every trinket has a story, every trinket has a price. You'll soon find this yourself. And he starts to swirl around the room, his body twisting and bending as he tries to surround you. Make a defy danger.
Nothing but a bad job this is. That is 9, 10, 11.
Okay. You roll out of the way. You will find you're in an advantageous position.
Oh, I stabbed him, right? So I have a hold.
Yes, you do have a hold.
Okay. Very good. Yeah, I'm going to need to bargain for some power. I will spend that hold. And I get a 6-. The sacrifice is found lacking. You may use one move off the legacy list once, and I will get a curse.
I think that it is because the blood of the attendant is not blood. Like, it's like inky and green.
Yes. Yeah, I think I'm going to get... The one move I'm going to get is... I think I would like to use... Yeah, I'm going to use Called Shot.
Okay. You're also in an advantageous position to use a backstab as well.
Oh, okay. Well, let's see. I'll save the Called Shot.
Okay.
I'll save the Called Shot, because if I've maneuvered enough for a backstab, I'm just going to go take that.
Okay. How much damage did you do before?
I did 7.
7 damage. Great.
Okay, so, roll dex. That is a 9, 10, 11, so choose 2. I don't get into melee with them, and I'll deal my damage plus a d6. I'm going to try to make quick work. Of this guy. Total of 7.
Okay. Yeah, what happens is you stab the thing from behind. And he tears apart like shredded paper. And just starts swirling around the room. One, I'm gonna say it'll take a called shot to hit this thing. But if you can land one more good hit, and you start to see the walls cracking, and you get the sense that this thing is the pearl.
Right. I'm going to make sure that I grab something of I'm going to grab something and throw it in my pocket.
Oh yeah, you grab a few pearls and they're
Right.
in there. Various sizes.
Just need something to prove out that I've been here. Okay, roll dex for the called shot. Oh, phew, thank God for the +2. That is a 9.
Okay.
Okay. So depending on whether this is if this is the head, then on a 7 to 9 they do nothing but stand and drool for a few moments.
I'm not gonna say this is the head. I'm gonna give this a special
Sure.
thing because it's sort of his being is what required the called shot. I think that you at a 7 to 9 you puncture the wall, right?
Yep.
You punch through the wall and suddenly there is like a compression vortex, like you've opened the window on an airplane. Everything is just swirling out of the room through this like fist-sized hole. And
Right.
the walls are starting to crack and he has taken his shape again. It's going to take one last defy danger, and if you do not succeed at this, you're going to go to the Black Gates.
Okay. I love it. Okay. All right. Defy danger. Dex. I get a 10-11.
Okay. You find yourself outside of the Pearl. The Pearl has this tiny puncture in it. The attendant is standing behind you. No, the attendant is still in the Pearl. You see the black swirling around the Pearl. The halfling has backed up and is against the wall. And just has his hands up and says, "Take what you want and leave."
I go over and I take the flask.
Perfect.
Take the flask. I take a sip of it. Close it up. I'm good. Thanks for holding on to my flask for me.
He smiles, the smile of a thief that has felt honor among thieves. And you exit. You make your way out of the vault.
Mm-hmm.
You find Helmet Blazestone. What do you present him with?
I drop the. I put the pearls on the. I put the pearls on the table. I gently put them down so they don't roll away. They're pearls. They're vaults. Find a wizard who can open them up.
I asked you to deliver one thing, and you delivered 17.
18,
Shanks.
actually. One in my pocket.
That's fair. You know what? Call it a commission. Until the next time, and he scoops them into a bag. And he flips you a ruby as well. And he says, "Don't spend it all in one place." And you look at the pearl in your pocket. And where it was tiger stripe before, now it's pure white. And you swear you feel something over your shoulder. But there's nothing there. And that's game.
Oh, it's awesome. That was great.
That ruled.
I love it. I love my dungeon world on the weird side. So
I
it's
love it.
fantastically weird.
I love when it gets weird. Phil, thank you so much for coming on Party of One and running the legacy weapon, or playing the legacy weapon. This ruled.
Oh, thank you so much. That was so much fun to play.
So where can people find your work online?
You can find me. You can find me on the Misdirected Mark podcast Tuesday evenings on Twitch at 8:45 p.m. Eastern, or wherever you get your podcasts. Every week on Mondays, you can find the Pandas Talking Games. And if you want to check out Encoded Designs, you can go to encodeddesigns.com, and you can always follow me on Twitter at DNAPhil.
Perfect. Thank you so much for coming on the show. This was a blast, and I am going to throw it over to me in the future so that he can wrap up with the show. Take it, future me. Thanks, past me. And thanks again to Phil for coming onto the show. That game was so much fun. I loved it.
Be sure to check out all of Phil's work in the show notes. The Misdirected Mark and Pandas Talking Games podcasts are fascinating and illuminating tabletop discussion podcasts that, if you're interested in tabletop, I think you'll find something that catches your interest. And obviously, as you heard with the Legacy Weapon, he's a really talented game designer. I'm so into the idea of the Legacy Weapon. It's so cool and it works so well that I just want to play it forever. Like, it's so good. Also, be sure to follow Phil on Twitter at DNAPhil. Then while you're on Twitter, follow us at Party of One Pod. Then like the show on Facebook at facebook.com/Party of One Podcast. If you really enjoyed the show, consider giving us a nice iTunes review, social media shout out, or word of mouth recommendation. All three of those things help the show reach new audiences and grow bigger, better, and do cooler and cooler things. You can also consider backing us on Patreon. Patreon dollars help cover the show's hosting fees, equipment costs, convention appearances, and more. And in exchange, you get cool bonus material. This week, Phil and I, you'll get to hear our creation session for the Legacy Weapon itself. It's pretty cool, and I'm pretty excited about it. You can find all of that at patreon.com/Party of One Podcast. If you want to hear more from me, consider checking out All My Fantasy Children, the podcast in which Aaron Catano Saez and I take your listener prompts and turn them into beautiful, thriving, vibrant role-playing game children. You can find that at soundcloud.com/allmyfantasychildren. Party of One is produced and edited by Jeff Stormer and Jen Frank. Opening and closing theme song of the show is Infinite Lives by Megaran, featuring the D&D Sluggers. If you'd like to inquire about advertising rights coming onto the show, or you've been watching Glow on Netflix and you want to talk about it, because that show rules and I want to talk about it, you can reach me at partyofonepodcast@gmail.com. Well, that's it for me. Until next time, thank you so much for listening. Remember to fight the forces of fascism every single day. And party on.
Never gonna die.